Hello, welcome to Game 5 of the D-League Championship. We're all tied up at 2 games apiece. Let's take a look at this kingdom.
That's my cue. Okay, so Importer is back. This is the third game with Importer. So Band of Nomads is one of those allies that I find super exhausting to play because it's so much clicking. So there's Magpie. We can trash with Apprentice. I like old map openings because you get to draw better, I feel like. Okay, so we have buy, and we have villages, and yes.
So to me, the big question is, are we getting opening with a Salvager and thinning our estates? That to me is the big... Or are we opening with a Magpie and just trying to gain a bunch of Magpies? Magpies don't particularly like the estates either. And if we're not...
I would keep the estates. I would open Magpie old map. My question is if we go Voyages. That's like my usual Odyssey question.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm opening Magpie Importer. I guess Salvager Importer is a little bit sad. Salvager Importer is a little bit sad. I'm pretty happy to trash all of my estates here. I don't think I want to use Shepherd Draw. I think I want to use Highwayman and or Minion. Probably Highwayman Magpie as my money. Sunken Treasure fits in not great with that deck. Distant Shores are going to be okay food for Salvager. And I probably import an Apprentice on my first importer play to start thinning estates, and then get a Highwayman, then a Workers' Village, and kind of add those cards. And the deck with the Highwayman doesn't really care if you're being minion attacked. That's sort of what I'm thinking here. Band of Nomads I also find very confusing. The plus buy, I guess, to me is the biggest thing. You don't need to add a plus buy early on with Band of Nomads. You can hit a big price point and then, buy something and then use the extra money to get a Workers' Village or something for your plus buy.
I mean, of course, Band of Nomads is nice if you have a gainer, right? So it's nice with Magpie.
Yeah, and it's nice with Importer. Importer becomes a village.
Yeah.
Problem is,
I'm still on my old map train. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't feel like old map is doing a lot for you here. Both players just draw the Importers on turn 3, living the charmed life. It's very frustrating when they both... I mean, it's nice that they both did it, but when one person does and the other person draws it on turn 4, it's much sad. Much more sadly. What is Minion doing that Silver is not doing?
I'm gonna be a little impolite and have some food, but I'm still here. One Workers' Village. We get a Highwayman. One Workers' Village. Yeah, so BitterWurmcoil is going for Shepherds, which Shepherd Highwayman is nice. The next part about Shepherd Highwayman is that you start with a much bigger hand with Highwayman, so you're much more likely to collide Shepherd with a reasonable number of victory cards. However, I feel like salvaging estates is a lot of early payload. I kind of am like old map Salvager opening. That just seems too weak. And maybe the 2 Highwayman deck, just Shepherd is just going to be super reliable if you can get 2 Highwaymen quickly, and with. It's not, I mean, it isn't Char. It's early payload that lets you hit good price points, but maybe Importer is just so strong that we're going to import Highwaymen so we don't have to ever hit 5. So if our Shepherd draws are not super amenable early on, we can still get there. And I mean, Importer gets us to 5 every time. The Shepherd deck doesn't work until it gets to 5. So we need to hit 5, but I'm counting Importer as hitting 5. So Importer is a 3 cost that hits 5. I think that should be okay. I'm still... I don't know. If we get 1 Apprentice, we can thin
than estates that cycles us around faster, and then our deck is going to be thinner and more dense, and we don't have to add quite as much draw. The counter to that is we're losing out on, 6 VP from the estates, plus whatever the Shepherd player can add extra estates for fairly cheap. So that's something we need to worry about.
Do we not want to go like the Odyssey route? I feel like just
Voyage feels very bad here. Voyage is very bad with Highwayman.
Yeah, but the other like Odyssey, like Old Map is fine, Sunken Treasure is fine, and Distant Shore.
Yeah. So if you're playing Shepherd, Distant Shore is even better than fine. Distant Shore is outstanding.
Yeah.
So I think at some point when you hit 3, you pick up an Old Map. And so like this turn for LTaco, maybe you pick up an Old Map. Old Map also is nice with kind of nice with Shepherd. It's a little sad because you don't know necessarily what the redrawn card is going to be. If you don't have the Shepherd in hand, you discard an estate and then draw a Shepherd and be sad, or you discard a copper and then draw a copper and be sad. But I mean that's not a huge consideration. And yeah, as BitterWurmcoil, I think you just add Highwayman here. Basically, you add villages and Highwayman until you're drawing deck. Band of Nomads does not quite work in that scenario. Yeah, and so again, I'm not wild about the Shepherds. The early Shepherd. We're seeing already BitterWurmcoil is going to be sad this turn, but yeah. So this is a spot here for. They were able to. Importer gained a plus action, and they were able to. Yeah, Old Map there made sense to me over more terminals. We already have a lot of terminals in the decks. Wow, BitterWurmcoil just didn't top deck the things, and then just drew all the estates in the right in the center of the deck. So this is going to be quite nice. She does have 1 importer. I would take a Mountain Village here. Mountain Village is very nice. Can be very nice with Highwayman. In order to make sure you get the Highwayman back into play and don't have to trigger a reshuffle. Mountain Village is somewhat sad with Shepherd because you have green cards, but again, if you have like 2 Shepherds, then Mountain Villaging in the state and then discarding it with Shepherd's not the end of the world either. But I think there's a world here actually where you import a Shepherd every turn and then you trigger a reshuffle. You like pull the Highwayman out. This is very complicated. You pull the Highwayman out of the discard pile with Mountain Village, and then you discard all your cards. So you start the turn by importing a Shepherd, and then your discard pile is Shepherd and whatever Highwayman you have. You pull the Highwayman out of the discard pile with Mountain Villages to play them. Then you discard other cards with Shepherd to draw them, and your discard pile is entirely the 1 Shepherd you gained with Importer plus all of the green cards from your deck. Then you trigger a bad shuffle with the Shepherd and the 4 green cards in it, and 2 Highwaymen in play, and you're incredibly reliable, and you just add in a bunch of payloads and estates and stuff. That all sounds extremely elaborate and takes a long time to set up. Mm-hmm. But it's what I'm considering right now. Both players seem to have gotten pretty decent deck control here. LTaco is not going to play with Shepherd. They're thinning estates. I think they probably want to add a Mountain Village here, given that they have 2 importers and Highwayman in play. So the Mountain Village is going to be able to pull whatever those importers gain. Which I guess is the other thing, right? If you start the turn with a clean shuffle and importers gaining a card to your discard pile, then Mountain Village can pull that card out of your discard pile and play it immediately. So say you need another Highwayman or a village or an Old Map.
Go.
I don't see much of a reason for LTaco to take an Old Map, but BitterWurmcoil certainly should be shooting to get to Distant Shore, which is going to be a very...
I want them to get Old Maps, both of them. I want that pile gone.
You just don't like looking at it?
No, I do like those cards.
Voyages are going to be very, very bad with Highwaymen. However, Voyages are very good with importers, so they're okay with importers. I was able to, in my Seaside 2nd Edition mix, do Voyage Tactician the other night, which was quite nice. I was able to Haven aside a Tactician, and then on my Voyage turn, play my Tactician.
Yeah, I played a couple Seaside 2E mix games yesterday, or like some boards. Mm-hmm. And there were like so many very cool boards, and one was Odysseys and delay, so you could delay stuff on your voyage turns. It was glorious. It was like very mind-breaking, but it was pretty cool.
And other people who are watching my YouTube channel will know I recently published a coaching video on how to do delay plus barge plus tactician. Shameless plug. So, double Highwayman, importer, and play. We are short 1 village. Probably we're going to import that next turn. Honestly, this feels like gold to me. This feels like buy a gold and then import a village, import a mountain village next turn or something. I also think buying importer old map here is reasonable because your opponent has 8 importers, but not enough villages to play them. I don't like old map silver. I like old map importer or gold old map. And then I also think both players need workers' villages. Mountain villages over workers' villages. It seems crazy to me. Like, if we'd had mountain villages there, we could have grabbed something out of the discard pile that we imported. We could have even imported, like, a minion or something, gotten it out of the discard pile, and then spun around to try to do some more with the turn. Okay, so BitterWurmcoil now has added a little bit of payload and an old map, and so I assume the idea is going to be to get around to Distant Shore. Voyage is very bad.
Look at this beautiful old map. Why didn't we rotate?
There's like a decent chance I sometimes forget to rotate.
No.
Okay. Yeah, BitterWurmcoil's not over-terminaled. So, BitterWurmcoil doesn't have to take a province, actually, because LTaco has how many importers in play? 2?
She needs more old maps, clearly.
Yeah, I think 2 workers' villages now is fine. And then threatening to pile out next turn, so LTaco has to take 6 VP next turn in order to stay in the game. So that would be my thought, 2 workers' villages here. With an importer in play, you can gain the last 2 workers' villages and importer and win next turn with a 6-point lead. And LTaco can't possibly gain 2 workers' villages importer and 6 VP in a turn, I don't think, with only 2 importers in play. What can they import? They can import the 2 workers' villages, but then they can buy an importer. They would also have to buy a province, and they only have, I think, 7 money in deck. So yeah, if BitterWurmcoil takes double workers' village here, she has a pretty good chance of winning the game next turn. And forcing LTaco to do something silly like take 2 estates and buy a province or something next turn.
Couldn't she also take estates?
She could take like 2 estates and a shepherd. That doesn't seem unreasonable to me. I kind of want to add if I'm prolonging the game, I want to add payload. Doubles Workers Village seems very safe. How does LTaco gain 8 VP? I'm just concerned that BitterWurmcoil didn't add any payload there. So like the and maybe you gain a Salvager off this importer and start salvaging. Okay, so don't cover your ears. Start salvaging the Magpies for coins.
I heard all of that.
I'm sorry.
I'm not particularly attached to the Magpies.
You have a utensil in your hand. You're not able to cover your ears.
That's right.
LTaco has a shepherd and I believe 2 green cards in the deck. They've way over-terminaled themselves. I don't think they had a coherent
plan here. I'm going to keep saying this, like, Mountain Village. Okay, they're gaining estates now. Okay. This is not safe, no. So Importer gains Importer, and then BitterWurmcoil buys 4 estates and wins the game, I think. Does she have 3 workers' villages? Maybe she only has 2. Nope, she's got 3 and 8 money. This is if she draws a win.
Looks likely.
Yeah, we had to find a shepherd, and we did. But it looks very likely from here. Max discard. This should redraw deck. And we even have another shepherd. Yeah, so I don't think LTaco fully considered the ramifications of their last thing, but nice win for BitterWurmcoil.
Like that was close fit.
Yeah. I mean, we knew her payload from last turn. She drew deck, so we knew it was the same. All right. Well, first player wins again, and that was game 5. BitterWurmcoil's got a 3-2 lead going into game 6.